I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
You're here looking for someone? Maybe. Some missing señorita?
Ashley, where are you?
Long time no see.
Major Krauser?
Gondor Wonder Roost. I've located Baby Eagle.
The entire world shall overflow with his grace.
What's happening to me?
Now, abandon your body.
Leave the girl. She's lost no matter what.
Now that he has chosen death.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Ah, yes, the time has come.
Like I told you. I'm gonna get you home safe.
I'm ready to die, rookie.
Exalt all,
Leon!
And let it be so.
Temperance, child.
you will receive our most sacred body.
Hey everyone, it's Soul here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Our Resident Evil journey has brought us all over, to some incredible highs and some disappointing lows, but it's led us to this moment right here. We have finally made it to Resident Evil 4. Now, much like Resident Evil 2, all I ever heard since starting this series was wait until you get to Resident Evils 2 and 4. They are the best games in the entire series, and I was constantly hearing good things about these two games. Not to mention, when I was playing through Resident Evil 8, I kept seeing criticism about how that game copies Resident Evil 4 too much, which kinda got me even more excited to play this game, because I really enjoyed my experience with Resident Evil Village. So after my terrifying experience with Mr. X, after dealing with Nemesis, and seeing Wesker's revival in Code Veronica, I was really looking forward to seeing what surprises this game had in store. Yet, what I wasn't expecting was just how drastically different this game is in so many different areas compared to the previous games in the series. We aren't just talking about a switch up in graphics or controls with this game, it is, at its core, fundamentally different from previous Resident Evil games and signifies a distinct breaking point within this series. The days of survival horror are gone, the complex puzzles are gone, the more detached and passive main characters are gone. But the change that had me the most excited and to this day intrigues me about this game is all of the morally gray cast of characters that we get within this story. It's no longer a simple black and white good guy bad guy situation here. The characters, their backgrounds, and their personalities add so much to this game that I have to talk about it. So let's get back to our main man Leon here and break all of this down. Before we jump in though, please remember to hit that like button, click subscribe to see more videos from me, follow me over on Twitch, and leave a comment down below. Here is your one and only warning, that this video contains spoilers. Alright, sharpen your knives, grab your leather coats, and let's zip into it. Resident Evil 4 first came out back in the year 2005, but of course, as we've been doing with this entire series, we are only taking a look at the remake, at least for right now. With the remake coming out only 2 years ago back in 2023, this game has some of the best graphics to date so far. While the older graphics have posed some slight challenges for me in the past, mainly in relation to getting immersed into the games because of the older graphics, this game I had zero issues with, and admittedly, it was really nice to just jump into a game with no challenges of immersion because of the modern graphics. I mean, the game itself is just truly beautiful at times, with some crazy textures on the skin and their faces. It really just makes me excited to see where the graphics of video games go moving forward. But aside from the outstanding graphics here, this game is the first to switch up the gameplay in the series thus far in more ways than just one. While all of the games thus far, not counting 7 and 8 of course, because even though I played them first, I'm strictly talking in canonical story-wise order here, all of the games so far are true survival horror games with puzzles as the main focus, and they occur within one central main setting. However, Resident Evil 4 gives us a much more action-heavy gameplay with the addition of effective melee attacks instead of just defenses, and the addition of stealth kills. Not to mention giving us a much larger area to explore instead of just our usual creepy mansion. I was shocked at how different the gameplay actually was, but at the same time, I kinda loved it. Coming from games like The Last of Us, this is definitely just right up my alley in terms of gameplay style. Despite my lack of overall gaming skills here, of course, it was just a lot more natural for me to play this game as everything sort of came second nature. And while again, I haven't played the original game, so I can't speak to what it was like for this transition back then, this transition and breaking point now amongst all of these modern remakes is still very distinct. But what I found to be extra funny about this change in the gameplay is how it also coincided with the shift in the narrative style of the game as well. You see, the story itself for this game is probably the most basic action hero story ever. It's a secret agent sent on a rescue mission to save the damsel in distress with quite a few complications along the way. The only thing that would make this a bit more cliche of an action hero story would be if he was rescuing a kidnapped family member, but this is a close second. With this action hero story, the sense of the mystery that the previous few games had is no longer in the forefront. That feeling of uncertainty and horror is gone as the mission becomes the main focus. Getting Ashley and getting out is now the main thing.
That went well.
We aren't just stuck in the middle of nowhere searching for a way out, we are strategically dropped here on purpose to be, well, the hero. In this game, we get to follow Leon 6 years after the events of Resident Evil 2, and we see that he has been forced against his will to work for the US government under this specialized task force. Being sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter here from a mysterious group called Los Illuminados, we enter into this strange infected village, going on to face the different sort of rulers of these realms and their respective beasts along the way, as we try to save not only Ashley, but also Leon from this infection. While on this journey, Leon goes on to meet a couple of old friends while also making a new one, before ultimately defeating Lord Sadler, cleansing the infection out of both himself and Ashley, and then safely making it off the island with Ashley in tow.
Mission accomplished, right?
Mission accomplished. When you're home safe.
Thank you for saving me.
Leon Kennedy has come a long way from the events of Resident Evil 2. The untrained and naive rookie that showed up at Raccoon City's police station is now a highly trained specialist within this secret task force.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
His grumpy demeanor and sarcastic comments help to add a bit of light and comedy to this gameplay. However, it also works wonders at showing the passage of time and the toll of his job.
Oh, angry Leon!
Hey,
Angry
I
Leon!
see you found your missing señorita.
Senorita has a name and it's Ashley. You are?
Name's Luis. Encantado.
Great. We all have names. Now then.
The writers really try to send the message strongly in this intro scene here that Leon is almost this reluctant hero, which is such a sharp contrast to his hopeful and determined personality in Resident Evil 2. He's someone who has now seen the darker sides of the world. He's seen the evil people can hold within their hearts, and now he has to face it every single day. He, of course, succeeds in his missions no matter what the cost, but I can't really tell how much he actually wants to do it, since we have this intro scene looming over our heads the entire game. At the surface, of course he does not want to see Ashley die, of course he wants to save this helpless girl, but he also isn't necessarily trying to stop Los Illuminados right away. If Ashley wasn't constantly getting taken by them, would he have actually gone out of his way to stop them? Or, better yet, put Ashley in harm's way to stop them? No, I really don't think he would've. Leon is, of course, this moral good guy in this game. He is our hero nonetheless, so he has a really strong moral compass. However, with the loss of that innocence and determination that he had in Resident Evil 2, without his strong desires to save the world immediately, I just can't help but feel that he has sort of slipped into the beginnings of this moral gray area of life. At the very least, he now understands the complexities of this world and is no longer seeing things in black and white. With this new realization and his newfound understanding for the world, it also allows him to see someone else slightly differently, namely, Ada.
Don't think too hard, handsome.
Now, of course, we have to talk about Ada and Leon's relationship here because, I mean, just look at that smirk. After 6 years apart, these two can finally begin to see somewhat eye to eye, which I just think is such a fun dynamic to have in this game in relation to these two characters. It makes for some really great interactions between the two of them, and it also goes on to show how far they both have come. In Resident Evil 2, when we first saw these characters, they are complete opposites. Ada is willing to lie and do absolutely anything to further her own mission without a single care for anyone else, let alone the fate of the world.
You know, it's one thing to keep the truth from me, but why him?
But Leon, being the opposite of course, is willing to do anything and everything to save not only the entire world, but every single person that he meets along the way. In their final moment of confrontation to each other in Resident Evil 2, we witness Ada and Leon trying to convince the other one to join their side. Leon is trying to get Ada to do the right thing, and Ada is trying to prove her point and her reasoning to Leon. And of course, we get this great moment that I talked about previously, where Ada seems to say, okay, let's give it a try, by lowering her gun, before that, of course, gets interrupted. When they go their separate ways, they are still unchanged, at least in their moral personalities here. But as we move forward in Resident Evil 4, they are both clearly changed since these events.
Raccoon City. You know, after the incident, the world changed. Try to save one person, 100 others die. I guess I changed too.
You? Leon S. Kennedy. You haven't changed. You just think you have.
Have you changed, Ada? Or are you just trying to use me again?
What do you think?
There's this interesting conversation here where the characters seem to disagree on whether they've changed or not. Now, this is something I do want to bring up a little bit later on as well, because I find it interesting how they start off the game talking about how Leon has changed, only for them to have so many characters say that he hasn't. And Ada is very much one of them. She refuses to see that he has changed because she can't seem to look past his determination to save Ashley. His moral goodness and determination seems to be the only thing that Ada is focusing on, and is presumably why she says that he has not changed, because this one aspect to his character hasn't. But as I've said before, at the very least, his eyes have been opened to the complexity of this world, and in my opinion, that does change him no matter what. And what makes this dynamic really interesting this time, especially compared to Resident Evil 2, is that Ada is the one asking questions.
Stop wasting my time, Ada. Find Lewis. Fetch me the amber.
I should probably thank you for this room. Are you staying? To back me up?
I'm not here to babysit you. See that you remain an asset and not a liability. I have absolutely no use for your incompetence.
Easy with the threats, Wesker.
Just get it done. I'll be in touch.
Ada is the one trying to figure things out. She is the one that is really starting to question her moral beliefs throughout this game and throughout the DLC. Her moral compass is starting to kick in throughout this game. She has a stronger sense of humanity in this game compared to Resident Evil 2, as we see her step in to save Ashley and Leon, putting herself in harm's way of Lord Sadler, and, of course, refusing to give Wesker the amber.
We're changing course now.
Her decisions and her actions go against her character traits. She is someone who is manipulative. She doesn't care who she offends, whether that be the people that she's working for or the people that she's fighting against, as long as they can help her own desires here. That is who she will work with in the moment before immediately betraying them the second they are no longer useful. We see how selfish she is. She does not care for the survival of the whole world during the ending of Resident Evil 2, and her lack of humanity for the people around her as we witness her tossing both Louise and Leon into the face of danger over and over again shows how unpredictable she is, and most importantly, all of the different characteristics and traits of an anti-hero. But as this story progresses, these character traits are tested and some of them crumble. A redemption arc for Ada Wong is close in hand as she makes some very interesting decisions at the end of the game. As previously mentioned, her decision to not give Wesker the amber puts herself directly in harm's way. She is no longer selfish like we saw at the end of Resident Evil 2, where she did in fact take the G-Virus. And her decision to try and save Leon and Ashley from Lord Sadler results in her getting captured. She got sloppy, her emotions took over, and she wasn't the cool, calculative, self-centered version of Ada that we saw previously. She is beginning to change. And her continued actions at the end of the game, showing how she is putting herself in harm's way, is the biggest sign of this change. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't change the fact that Ada is still very much a morally gray character. However, this is, without a doubt, the beginning of a turning point, the beginning of a character arc for Ada Wong. It was so enjoyable to watch how gradually these two characters shifted, and more importantly, see how much they went on to influence the other. There's nothing more telling than their final departure here at Resident Evil 4 to showcase just how far they've come.
Ride's here. You coming?
I think we both know this is where we go our separate ways.
I see.
Leon, despite being the hero in Resi 2, despite trying to save the entire world from destruction, no longer tries to fight Ada to stop the amber from getting out. He doesn't even bother to stand up. And Ada no longer tries to prove her point or make her logic known to Leon. They both just sort of accept and understand where the other person is coming from as they leave each other and part ways. Now, of course, a good amount of the information relating to Ada is seen in the DLC Separate Ways, which I'm not really going to spend too much time on, but I do just want to really quickly mention it here, because thank God for the timeline of events lining up. Resident Evil 2, my main issue was that the continuity of the story across the A and B stories did not add together really well. You do the same puzzles, a lot of the situations end up being identical, and it just doesn't make sense that both Claire and Leon are somehow in the police station at the same time when you're doing the exact same things over again. So it really was such a pleasure to play through this game and see how Ada set things up for Leon and how Leon impacted things around Ada. And yes, while some sections were pretty similar, they were different enough to get by and make it believable that two separate people came through the same area. It was also just really fun to see more of Wesker as well.
Stop wasting my time, Ada. Find Lewis. Fetch me the amber.
Now, he's not really in Leon's story at all, if we're being honest, but with him showing up at the end and then having his few threatening lines and interactions with Ada in the DLC, it helps set him up nicely as the prominent overarching villain moving forward, and of course, helps tie this drastically different game to the rest of the series.
Soon, the sun will set on the age of man.
The loss of Umbrella as an overarching enemy is a pretty big risk in my opinion, especially since there are so many loose ends in relation to the fall of Umbrella. However, the game developers did notice this gap, and they tried to fill it by stringing along the information that Luis once worked for Umbrella. Now this is kind of one of my minor criticisms of this game. They keep trying to string this fact along, that Luis worked for Umbrella and that perhaps he is this untrustworthy companion that you're working with. However, the fact that Luis is just such a goofy and easy-to-love character, it's really not enough to give off the sort of daunting and looming doom and gloom that the Umbrella threat has gave off in the past. So, in my opinion, this didn't really work that well. It started to feel a bit redundant because every single time Luis's name was mentioned, they would bring up his past, despite the fact that his actions here in the present were not evil at all. So it's just a little criticism there. But at the very least, it does tie us back to the rest of the Resident Evil world. So I guess it's okay. It is passable because we do need those connections, such as Wesker and Luis here. But it's just not my favorite addition in this story. Luis as a character, though, goes on to add yet another layer to this morally gray cast of characters, as he is showcased to be the classic redeemed hero. With Luis having worked for Umbrella in the past, presumably playing a crucial role in the creation and the research of the T-Virus, before then going on to work for Los Illuminados to study this mysterious parasitic fungal infection found within the amber, he has clearly done a lot of harm in his past, turning innocent people into these bioweapons. While he starts off the game, much like Ada in the sense that he is seen as this self-centered character, he is quickly seen trying to help Leon and Ashley by providing them a cure, which showcases a sign of his humanity.
I don't want to become like them.
You are, well, lucky. You see, at this early stage, the parasite, the plaga, it is possible to remove it with the surgical procedure. And all you need is some know-how. And oh yeah, the right equipment.
As the story progresses, we get his reasoning behind his actions, as he simply is trying to make up for his past and prevent anyone else from being harmed by his research.
You didn't answer my question. What are you after?
Oh, little lore drop.
I just want to feel good about myself. Make amends. Or something like that.
With his dying words being that of his fear that he might not have changed soon enough, it really is such a tragic and heartbreaking end to this character. Not to mention the sheer shock that his sudden death creates with the abrupt entrance of this new villain in the story is just really well done. It tugs at the heartstrings in the best possible ways, and his death, dying to help Leon, is his final step in becoming the changed and now redeemed hero in this story.
You know, I led a pretty shitty life. But now, eh? What do you think, Leon? People can change, right?
It is a shame, because Luis is quite an enjoyable character to have, and to see him get killed off at this point in the game, it's just sad, because he's one of the characters you're rooting for, as he has proved himself to be changed and trustworthy. Everyone wants a happy ending for those types of characters, but that is sadly not the case. But with Luis's character, there was a very disturbing thought that I had when playing the game, which is the fact that his character could be an ominous foreshadowing of Ada's story in the series. Now, of course, at this point she is still alive and well, but the fact that she is beginning to turn, the fact that she is beginning to shift and potentially becoming this redeemed hero, I'm definitely a little concerned for her safety moving forward, purely because of the fact that right now, the redeemed hero characters have not necessarily done well in this series so far. Time will only tell, of course, but the character of Louise being so similar to Ada, showing that redemption is possible, just has me a little bit worried. But that being said, Krauser's entrance is a really fascinating moment in the story for me, purely because of the fact that Krauser is Leon's foil. Krauser wasn't always a bad guy. He is one of those characters that is still living within that gray area because he used to do good. He used to help so many people, and then he had one bad incident, and that changed him forever. Krauser is what Leon will become if he ever chooses to stop focusing on the good sides of life. Now, while Leon definitely seems to be struggling after the events of Raccoon City, it didn't turn him to the evil side of life as Operation Javier did for Krauser. The trauma and the failures of this mission is what turned Krauser to the other side of his job. He is now the very thing that he sought to destroy in his past missions, and Leon acknowledging the fact that they both started off from the same place, the fact that they both started off in the same position, is why he's so hesitant to kill him. He is hoping that Krauser can turn the other leaf, he can come back and do the right thing here, but Krauser can't seem to get out of that darkness. And this is what makes him Leon's foil, because with Krauser as a comparison, we see how Leon is still such a hopeful person, always hoping that people can redeem themselves, they can do the right thing no matter how far gone they actually are. So it really is such an effective character foil to have in this story. It is a bit of a shame that Krauser isn't in the series longer, not only because of the fact that he is Leon's foil, but also because we need more information about Operation Javier. I understand there is a DLC on the original RE4, but in the remake, as it is right now, there is a lot of information that is missing about what happened. Krauser's addition in this story does feel a bit like an afterthought due to the lack of details surrounding their past and because of how little he actually is in the game. He doesn't even arrive until after the halfway point, so Krauser's addition, despite being really good, just felt a bit rushed. Having Krauser around for a longer period of time, be that a longer section in this game or across multiple games for that matter, I think could have been a really fun concept to explore. However, I also kind of understand the idea that if Krauser is Leon's sort of rival, then we basically have a copy and paste situation of Wesker and Chris. So on one hand, while I like the thought of Krauser sticking around for a longer period of time, I also think this is probably better in the long run to separate these two characters here, but at the very least, I really wish they put in the DLC in the remake to showcase the past history between Krauser and Leon. Moving on to the final character we have to talk about in this game, last but certainly not least, we have Ashley. Now, Ashley is usually seen as this very annoying character. She gets in the way of your scope when you're trying to shoot these enemies constantly. She's a bit complaining, she's screaming unnecessarily, and I'm sure in the original she was 10 times more annoying like this, which just adds to the sort of comedy in my opinion. But Ashley actually does have a very important role within this sort of morally gray cast of characters, as she is the one that points out Leon's change in character.
Can't believe that guy.
He's in trouble. We can't just leave him, right?
Ashley in this story is as pure as they come. She is completely innocent and she does not want to see anyone else get harmed, which we see in Chapter 9 when she rescues Leon.
Let's stay back. I might hurt you again.
Ashley's innocence in this chaotic story is also a big part as to why Luis is able to achieve his redemption. He is trying to do the right thing to help Ashley, but Ashley's connection with Leon is what I really want to focus in on. As I mentioned previously, so many characters within this story mention how Leon has not changed. Yet, with that opening intro scene, the game developers try to make it clear that he has, or at the very least, he thinks he has. But the question still remains of, does he actually change after Resident Evil 2, after joining this task force, or is he still the same old Leon? And the reason I looked to Ashley for this is because of one brief interaction here where we see Leon not try to help someone else. The moment I'm referring to is when Luis calls Leon asking for help to come and save him, and Leon doesn't do it.
Luis, where are you?
Sorry, I screwed up. Come to my rescue, Prince Charming.
I'll show you charming, pal.
Come on. I'm in the ballroom past the courtyard. Don't be late to the dance.
Can't believe that guy.
He's in trouble. We can't just leave him, right?
Ashley questions his motives here, which to me stands out because Leon in Resident Evil 2 was always trying to help people. He even goes on to help Annette Birkin at the end of the game, despite the fact that he believes her to be the enemy because she created the G-Virus. Him not helping Luis here is a big deal and, to me, signifies that yes, Leon has changed a little bit. And if it wasn't for this morally pure character, if Ashley wasn't the one questioning Leon's decisions here, then I don't think I would have come to this conclusion. The fact that we have someone whose morals are in the right place, questioning our main character, who we thought is still morally good like we saw in his previous game, is the comparison we needed in order to see that yes, Leon has changed as he has stepped into the shades of complexity that these characters and this world have to offer. This is, of course, just my interpretation of this situation and these characters, so let me know down below if you agree or what your thoughts are about this matter. I also find this moment very ironic as well because it plays into Ada's redemption arc because she is the one that ends up saving Luis here. But, as always, let me know your thoughts about this down below. At the end of Resident Evil 4, I find myself saying that all of these characters were such a treat to experience within this game. Don't get me wrong, the enemies are really fun to fight against. There's some really fun interactions and boss fights. The story and the founding of the Plagas is also fascinating, despite being somewhat similar to the sort of molds in Resident Evil 7 and 8. It's definitely not the progenitor, and it's the first time in the series that we are dealing with something new, which I think is really fascinating. But at the end of the day, it's this main cast of characters that make this game so special. This game is so incredibly different. It's not just the fact that there is a more action hero feel to it. It's not just the loss of Umbrella. It's not the lack of the progenitor or the T-Virus research. It's not just the dip in the puzzle styles and the survival horror gameplay, but the morally gray and complex characters that this story has to offer that all work together to create this incredible game that not only separates it from everything else, but makes it stand out. So yeah, you guys were right about Resident Evil 4. It's pretty awesome, both as a game and as a story. I can easily see how this game is so many people's favorite game from the series, because when you put the writing skills aside, and if you're okay with missing out on some of the horror elements the other games provided, then it's really just a fun game to play with witty and interesting characters. So with that, everyone, if you liked my discussion, let me know by hitting the like button down below, and if you made it this far, leave a little knife emoji down in the comment section. While you guys are down there, make sure to click subscribe to see more videos from me, and turn on notifications if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you future souls next time. Bye, guys!